Hello and welcome. Today is all about Legoland Windsor, and more importantly the video is about their big Lego city known as Miniland. Now we've got lots and lots of different Lego models to have a look at. They are huge in areas as well, and you can see there is a Miniland mission going on. We have saved the parade day. Now there's bits and pieces you can actually pause, I do believe, and then scan the QR code. So if you want to get involved in that, then obviously feel free and let me know what you find out in that comment section below. But as we walk round a very empty Miniland, this was a perfect time to do this. Now I will be doing a comparison video of this Legoland in Windsor compared to the one in Malaysia and in Dubai. So I did all three Legolands on the same trip, and of course I filmed all three Minilands. So keep your eyes peeled for a comparison video of all the different Lego shops and the different Minilands and rides and things like that. But for today's video, it is all about focusing on these huge models and playing spot the difference to what was here from when we walked around in 2022, because this was filmed in 24 and I was actually too busy to come back in 23, so it's quite nice to walk around and actually soak it all in and just see what bits and pieces had changed. Now all the animatronics were working, some of the buttons had been taken away because they had stopped using some of those things sort of just before, or should I say during, the dirty COVID word in 2020, and they've actually been pulled out. Some of those animatronics aren't there anymore, which is a new thing to me, but obviously you guys and girls might have spotted that sooner than I did. But all the trains and everything like that are working. Now what you got to remember is this is still technically the off season, so they are in the build up to the big half terms, and obviously more importantly for the theme parks in the UK, their big summer holiday season. So some bits and pieces might not have been running, some of the bits and pieces would have been getting repaired as the build up continues to their busy period. But I was very impressed on the models and bits and pieces that were working and then what they had on offer as we started to walk around, obviously where we are at the moment, which is London. Now one thing I always say about Legoland Windsor compared to a lot of the other Minilands is that each area is zoned almost to a different country. So we've got London, we've got France, we've got bits and pieces from Scotland, bits and pieces from Wales and things like that, where usually in some of the other Minilands it is just all one country, whereas here we have split it up. So as we walk around you will see that we've actually got quite a lot of bits and pieces from America as well. When I get back over to the Legoland parks in the States, because I have got a bit of a thing that I want to do, because I want to do all three of those parks, or at least two of those parks back to back, which would be absolutely ideal. I have yet to visit Legoland New York, so I'm very intrigued to see how their Miniland compares to this one, and if it's just big built up buildings like they've got in Dubai, if it's just stuff all over the States, if it's just the state of New York, or if they have included some bits and pieces from London, because at some of the other places like Billund, for example, they haven't done that. If I remember rightly, I don't think Legoland Germany did. Malaysia was all to do with local bits and pieces as well. So Windsor does seem to be a bit different with regards to the types of buildings that you see, and again with the animatronics and bits and pieces like that. But as we go around, if you have spotted anything new from when you came last, or anything that is different with regards to the trains, the layouts, just sort of the feel of this Miniland compared to your local Legoland park, again let me know. Now, big difference between the Legoland parks and, of course, the Discovery Centres, and obviously what is technically the biggest Discovery Centre, which is the Lego House in Billund, Denmark, where you can walk around as an adult there, so that's fine. But obviously at the Legoland Discovery Centres, you can only go as an adult without a child on certain nights, or obviously you can have fun with your kids. They are all, I do believe, mini figure scale, where this is a lot bigger scale with regards to the models and bits and pieces like that. So just take that into consideration when you are going around. So if you are thinking of comparing how this differs to your local Lego Discovery Centre, it will be completely different just with regards to the scale. But you can see all the water they are all working around. You've got all the boats and everything. Certain areas look like they've just recently been cleaned as well, which is really nice to see. And there was lots of members of staff just cutting back all the shrubbery and everything like that, and just making it look neat and tidy, which is never the easiest thing to do, because the weather that we've had in the UK at the moment, it's just been raining. Then it gets warm, everything grows really quick, and then it just rains again, and that that is basically what it has been doing today as well. So it is a never-ending process getting bits and pieces de-weeded, but it is very, very interesting how they have managed to keep this perfect. And obviously you might be able to spot some of the AstroTurf that they've used as well, which is basically the fake grass, and it does work nicely. Now, I said certain areas might not be working as well as others. This I don't think had anything turned on. I can't remember if the trains go around this area. I'm not too sure if the theme park bits are working, but again, they are in the process of building up to their busy period, because I'm doing the voiceover on the 26th of May, and this was filmed about maybe 3 to 4 weeks prior to me doing the voiceover to this. So I would imagine now everything will be up and running, because it is the half term for the UK children, and I would imagine Legoland Windsor now is absolutely packed. And I think the new accommodation has opened as well, so I'm looking forward to getting down there and then getting all the new bits and pieces filmed with regards to the new accommodation, and trying to get to some other shorter flight places like Germany and Billund in the next couple of months as well. But you can see beautiful amount of water, beautiful amount of models. Now, I say this every single time, you have got some older coaches, and I do believe these older buses that aren't moving was from the first round of the big NASA space bits and pieces, and they kept some of them and redid it. And I am very looking forward to very much getting back to Legoland Billund, because they have just redone all of their space stuff. It seems to be this year of 2024, Lego are doing a huge push for the space sets. Obviously you can see all the huge amount of sets that have just come out, all the sets that are available on the Lego website, and of course we've got all of this bits and pieces just to the right hand side, so we will be taking a look at that as well. And I do believe we might have caught the space launch as well. So if your park has a lot of the NASA space bits and pieces, again, let me know. But you can see we are walking around Paris currently, and Paris does have the trains running in here. Over the years, they've added in all the cycle bits and pieces, they've added in all the bikes, they do add in a lot of models, and they also do change the location of the models as well. So if you are specifically coming here to play the different games, there are some games to play where you've got to try and play, basically spot where the certain types of figures are and things like that. That is a big thing that they do at the Lego house in Billund. Now you can see you got this thing just here. This is, I do believe you had to download the app, the Legoland app. I do believe you had to download, because it's very similar to the bits and pieces that they've got down at the Mythica section. So obviously I didn't download the app because I was far too busy with regards to timing. I literally did one loop of the park, ran to the truck, drove to the airport, got on a plane and flew to Singapore. That is how close I left it, but it was definitely worth it. But as you can see, as we're starting to walk round, there are some more bits and pieces turned on with regards to the animatronics. Some of the turbine planes at the front are, and then obviously they will be getting going. Now I do like these bits and pieces just here. That blue looks very, very fresh and clean. So it does look like either some of them have had a really deep clean, or the bits and pieces have been replaced, because Windsor, unlike some of the other parks, is not undercover, and either it will be very, very hot for a couple of weeks, so obviously the colour will fade, but 90% of the time it will be pure misery and it just rains. So these bricks take an absolute pounding. So this is probably one of the harsher environments for a Miniland. So you've got to take that with a pinch of salt with regards to comparing it to your own Miniland as well, because potentially, like in Windsor or in Dubai, they are undercover, so they are protected from the elements when you have the heavy rain or the heavy wind or the strong sunshine, whereas this, it's basically, well, luck of the draw, and it just hopes for the best. And I think the members of staff have done a very, very good job this season, just keeping everything cut back, because that is a full-time job as well, let alone trying to repair everything. And that was a memorial plaque just there, so if you want to see who that was dedicated to and you missed it, just rewind it and pause it. But that is a nice little touch that they have added in a memorial plaque just there. So we've done 2 sections, I think. So with regards to Windsor, you've got an open space where you can just do a loop around. You can do basically a full donut, and then you can come to the next bits. We've done London, we've done Paris, we've got this bit in the middle, and then I do believe you have got Wales and Scotland in the far corner, and then we've got Denmark as well, just a little bit further down, which is always a nice thing to see, because that is now by the huge new Lego brick, and there is nothing wrong with that. Now, that's actually a place I didn't manage to get in because a school trip was walking to the door with probably close to 50 children all at the same time. So they would have filled that, but I was intrigued to know if they are now storing the best builds of the day. Because if you go to the one in Billund, or basically anywhere else, they've got really nice big glass cabinets or plexiglass cabinets where either they will have builds in from the Lego stores, they'll have builds in from just people that have just turned up. But that was literally a sit down, make bits and pieces, and then you just break it up and put it back in the bin again. And when they first opened it, it didn't really seem like they had room to be able to do that with the amount of other models that they had in there. So I did want to go in and have a look, but I couldn't get in there, obviously, for the amount of little ones that had just turned up. So I hope you guys and girls had a fantastic time. So you can see in this section, all the trains are running beautifully, because there's 3 that we've just seen there, so 2 past each other. The one at the top is on a different track, and there is a 4th train, so all of those were running absolutely fine. None of them had fallen off, none of them had crashed, which is always a good thing, and they were torpedoing round. So if you were into your photography, you wanted to get some nice photos of the train shooting round, or you want to get some train ideas with regards to sort of how you can go with the boat docks and different bits and pieces like that, just the track layout could be very, very important indeed. And of course, it's always a nice thing to have a look at and share. So you can try, if you can shrink this down into your own Lego city with regards to design. So for example, a smaller bridge over water with boats and bits and pieces like that going underneath, then you are absolutely living the dream. Now, this is an area just here where you've got Stonehenge, I do believe. That is where they tend to put a lot of the Halloween bits and pieces. There'll be a Halloween letter just by those tents as well. Loads and loads of pumpkins that they put there just because it is a nice area for them to put. So this is a fun area to come around at Halloween or Christmas if you want to play some Miniland games. But for the last couple of years, when I have actually done Windsor and Billund back to back, I've always found Billund has been a little bit better. So maybe this year I might try and do Billund versus Germany and just see exactly what is what. But like I said, very, very impressed with all the colourry that has been carrying out at Billund. And you can see we've got all the rugby as we're starting to walk around. So it's just a really nice fluent loop as we go through. So we're about halfway through the video. So guys, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Again, leave a comment in the comment section. YouTube seems to absolutely love that with regards to the algorithm. And of course, if you hadn't known it yet, I do have a secondary channel set up which is called Global Life Travels, which has all of the accommodation, all of the airplane rides and all that kind of thing, and basically everywhere else I go in the country, but you can link it up with a Legoland Park video as well. And keep your eyes peeled for the trip to Heathrow from here, because I have actually filmed how long it takes to get from the Legoland car park to the long stay car park. So if you're intrigued to know how long it takes you to get to the airport or get back from the airport to here by a car, that is all being filmed, and that'll be somewhere on this channel because it is heavily Lego related. Now, as we're panning around and coming through, you can see these boats are not moving at all. Some of them are, some of them are not. Again, it's probably just the time of year, and potentially when this was filmed, it was still a little bit fresh. So obviously, if the water starts to freeze, you don't want to be damaging cables and different bits and pieces like that. But like I said, hopefully now you'll be walking around as I'm doing this voiceover and everything will be working perfectly. And you can see some of the newer ships where you've got the bigger shipping containers and that red building in front of us. Obviously, it just kind of stands out like a sore thumb with regards to the brightness of the different colours and all the different Lego bricks, because it's just easy enough to see. And then as we come around to this bit, you've got like a little pay to play. Why that's there, I'm not too sure, but it does get used quite a lot. So if they make an extra little bit of money, then happy days for that. They've got a boat one at the bottom and a truck one at the top. Now in 2022, this whole section here, which is Santa Pod Raceway, I do believe, but they've just called it Brick Raceway, because you can see it's got the different brickstone tyres and all that kind of thing. Originally, this used to be monster trucks racing around, and now they've got cars. They did have a big dragster strip, which I do believe is still there, but they now have, or they did have, a lot of Formula 1 race cars, and all of this has been added in and completely changed. and I think it does look very, very good indeed. So if you had a camera that would zoom in, you'd be able to see all of the different teams just there in sort of like the pit lane, and then you can see you've got some little Easter eggs within the crowd. You've got some new build at the back. So all of this basically got ripped out. Some of it was a like for like with regards to they've just replaced it with fresh models, but you can see you've got a spy and seek for the Miniland missions, so that would have been an interesting game to play. But all of this I thought was fantastic because you've got this really nice working Ferris wheel, and you've got some of these bits and pieces here. Now over the 22 period, I did come back I think 3 times over the year, and every time I came back something else had been added to here, but I am almost now 100% sure something is missing, and I can't quite tell what it is. But if you think you know what it is, if it's some vehicles or it's a slightly bigger building, something doesn't quite look right, and I can't quite put my finger on it. If you're a pro, or you've just come back from Legoland Windsor and you're now watching this, let me know. But these are the buttons that have now been removed because they were buttons to push for the drag strip to go shooting up and down. I haven't seen that work for many years now, so I think they've just decided to take that away. But you can see there will be some Easter eggs in the crowd, and that is where they might have some reindeer in there or some other bits and pieces like that when it comes to the Halloween and Christmas season. Now moving on from Santa Pod, we are now moving over to Route 66. So this is the next section just beside it. This is the big loop of the American bit and pieces. So you can see you've got the big bridge, you've got some really big buildings, you've got some nice bits from Las Vegas, I do believe, and then as we come round, it's just like hot spots of different things to see over in the States. It's got its own map as well, so if you wanted to spend some time looking at some bits and pieces on that, this really is a nice land that you can just walk around and do a really nice loop. And especially when it's not raining and it's quite quiet like this, you do have a lot of opportunity just to soak it all in. And obviously even when I am walking around with the camera, I do try and backtrack some bits and pieces and just make sure that I can see it for myself, and it is always a nice thing to do, and that's what I try and do at all the other theme parks that I go to, which is obviously available, like I've said, on the Global Life Travels channel, because it's just nice to film, put the camera away, and then actually soak it in for yourself, because then you know what you're talking about. You can see you've got the big Hollywood sign, and then you've got some other bits as we come around, and then in the background you've got some nice big boats, you've got the big bridge, Statue of Liberty, and then you have some other little bits and pieces in there. I think everything in here, they've got all the major landmarks now. They took a while to get them in because obviously it takes a long time to build them all, but I think the newest thing that got added, I think, was the bridge a year or two ago, and then now they are basically there. And obviously they've just redone the NASA bits and pieces over the last couple of years as well. So everything from the States is looking nice, fresh and clean. But you can see you've got the Easter egg there to the Wicked sign that has been there for multiple years, and I do believe that they are now going to be making some of those sets. So I think they've just had a little bit of a tease on the Lego Instagram page, so we are going to be expecting some different license sets coming over potentially 24 and 2025. So again, coming into some of the smaller fairground bits and pieces, this does look very sweet, does look very nice. I do like how all the roads interlink, so even though they are completely different zones, the roads will take you all the way around. You've got the nice train that goes all the way around the outside, and you do have vehicles that will drive from here and go over the... I do believe that's a Golden Gate Bridge from San Francisco. Could be completely wrong anyway. You then got the big archway, which is on the left-hand side. And then we've got the big open diners here. I think there's some UFO bits and pieces there. There's a load of cactuses dotted all over the place. And then to the right-hand side, this is where we've got all of the space bits and pieces. So like I said, this has just been redone in Billund, and it got redone in the UK a year or two ago. And it does look very fresh and clean because they've added a lot of the ice white with really nice bright vibrant colours for all the different characters. But you've got the Kennedy Space Center emblem, and I am just walking over because I do believe there might be a countdown going on, so keep your eyes peeled for the clock, because there is a clock somewhere, but I don't know if I was clever enough to get it in camera. But I'm pretty sure, going by the sound effects that are about to happen, that should either be blowing smoke or taking off in a couple of seconds, but you can see in the background there is a brand new Ben & Jerry's ice cream bit in the Imagination Zone, which is just off from the Ferrari world, and then above that you have the little ride where you've got the aerial view of all of the different bits and pieces. So is it going to move up? No, the Rams aren't working on it at the moment, but it has got plenty of smoke coming out of its backside, so it is doing something, because that should, or it used to, just take off and then come back down again. I think that does it it's either every 5, 10 or 15 minutes, and it's at the far back there. There's a clock. I think that is counting down from 10 minutes. So every 10 minutes, you can see that for yourself. It does look pretty impressive when it does take off, but it does seem to be at some of the parts it has been stuck for a little while. Now, as we're coming back through, again, you can see in the far distance, there is another walkway. Now, that walkway will take you to the new dueling roller coaster as well, which shoots you all the way from one way and back down the other, and that is one of the, well, it has the largest minifigure in the world right beside the actual track as well. So it'll be interesting to see, I hope they do, open up a minifigure and more store just by that ride, because that would be the perfect location to do a massive Build-A-Figure store with a load of Lego bricks, because it's basically what the ride is all about as well. So let's hope so, but I can't see it happening, because they did shut the fantastic Pab wall / Pab store for a good while. That was shut for nearly 2 or 3 years before they closed everything else to open up the Ferrari world. So they always have things in place, and obviously the next big section of Legoland Windsor to attack is going to be, what do you think they are going to do with the Vikings River Splash? Because that is now closed to the public, that is all boarded over, and that is a big walkway down and a major artery into the park itself. So let us know if you're in the know, or let me know if you think you know what you would like to see, because it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of digging out, and it's going to cost an absolute fortune, whatever it is that they are going to do. But you can see we are now going to basically the wonders of the world. So you've got different bits and pieces with that. You've just seen from Australia, you've got this beautiful Taj Mahal from India, and then we had a couple of others just before then as well. I think we had some from Russia, and we had some from other places as well. Obviously Sydney would have been there. And then on the other side, I do believe now we have Italy just here, and then we've got Denmark. So I said at the very start of this video, Windsor does have a lot of different things all around Europe, and of course further afield as well. But again, all of this looks like it's been resurfaced with AstroTurf. So I'm pretty sure at one point this used to be grass, and I think they've just ripped all of that up because it was just too hard to upkeep, because the grass over here from time to time will grow rapidly, or it will just be brown and miserable, and this must be a little bit better for drainage as well. So the plants are real, and I do believe that's just all AstroTurf grass, but that does look very fresh, and it does look like they've resurfaced some of these roads as well, because you can see you've got the darker tarmac with the red. Obviously it was a little bit damp at the time, but you can see where some of it does look a lot newer and some of it does look a little bit faded, because that is what happens with the weather over in the UK. But all of this does look very good as we're wrapping around. We've still got some more information here from Italy, and again, if you wanted to pause it and have a look in all the windows, if you had a zoom in camera, there is a lot of detail going on. I think those little stores in the middle have been added in recently. I don't think they were there in 22, but I would imagine they would have been there in 23. So let me know if you know. And I do believe you've got a load of sheep in the background and some cows as well. That's always nice to see some animals walking around. And then you would have around this way a little bit of a loop. Now that is the huge brick, and it is literally called the brick because you go in there and then there are some bits and pieces to do. There was a new thing directly behind me, which to be honest I don't think I paid any attention to, but that did look like it was a new building because that was not there. I don't know if that is now where you've got the meet and greet for the characters. I think that might be where that is. And then you've got a big sort of an entertainment stage a little bit further up, and that grass all around there gets used for a lot of picnic areas and different bits and pieces like that, which is always nice to see, because especially in the sunshine it's nice to try and sit down in some shade, because I think I say this every time I mention the weather in Windsor. It's one of those places when it is unbelievably hot you will get burnt because you cannot get away from the sun at any land whatsoever. And the more parks that I go to, the more I realise this potentially is Windsor's Achilles heel, because there's not that many benches to sit down, and where the benches are, especially like now in the Miniland, if you do sit down, you are in direct sunlight, and obviously people get tired easier, so then people potentially will go home earlier because the little ones get tired, and then you can just imagine how the snowball effect from all of that. So maybe in the future that might be something to think of with regards to what will they be doing with that kind of thing. The best place for shade, I do believe now, is actually the Mythica section, and more importantly, the little walkthrough attraction that they've got. But I'm not a weatherman, nor do I design anything for Legoland Windsor, but compared to, like I said, all the other parks around the world, that is something I think that they really are missing with regards to when it's pouring down with rain, you're going to get soaked, and when it is super, super hot, you're going to get burnt. But guys, I really am running out of time. So one more time, if you can like this video and subscribe to the channel, that would be absolutely fantastic. Get in that comment section below with regards to what you like the most. What do you think your favourite section is on this? This was just a nice, short, quick walkthrough with regards to the bits and pieces that are here. I have done much more detailed videos in the past, which are well over an hour, because I zoomed in on absolutely everything so you guys and girls could see everything. But like I said, the day that I was filming, I just did not have the time. But as always, thank you very much for watching. You lot take care, and I'll catch you in the next one. Ta-da.